So hello, everybody. It was great to see you the last few weeks. It's great to see you today. And for those of you that are new and you're our guests, welcome.
Basically, Tantra is any type of spiritual practice that's not renunciate in nature, where you don't have to renounce your everyday life, your sex life, and like that. And again, we're going to focus on the sexual, sensual aspects.
I remember a couple pleasure courses ago, there was a woman who was sharing after the fact about these exercises. And she said something like, when I got to the part when we look at our bodies, and find a new part that we like. Well, I at first zeroed in on the part of my body that I usually don't like. For her, it was her tummy and she wants it to look a certain way. And she said, oh my gosh, as I was looking at my stomach, I realized I was completely in my head. And then as I turned around and looked at the back part of my body with a mirror and saw the curve of my lower back, suddenly I could feel my skin and I could feel my body. And suddenly I was totally in my body versus looking at my body conceptually with my mind. I'm sure many of you can relate to that.
So the point is to raise that energy, raise your Kundalini. And basically what that means is going through the chakras. So that's the essence of Tantra, is to use sexual practice to raise your Kundalini and go from the more gross and more basic to the more elevated and more subtle. So we call them the priceless principles to take from tantric sex, or of tantric sex, to use in your sex life. Slow down. Breathe, whether you're alone or with a partner. That really brings you into the belly center and the vital center. And if you're with a partner, you can breathe together. Stay connected, right? Now that's a really big one. If you're with yourself, it means to stay with your experience. If you're with a partner, it means to really stay with your experience and your partner's experience. That clairvoyance, clear seeing, or clear sentience, clear feeling, to really feel somebody else, to see somebody else as well as yourself. Now, the next one is one that you may like, you may not like. It's semen retention for men. In other words, to limit ejaculation. It doesn't mean that you can never ejaculate. When you take ejaculation off the table, it tends to help you really feel now. And it conserves that energy, because you might have noticed, guys, maybe ladies, maybe you've noticed that about the guys in your life. A guy who ejaculates a lot is going to be more drained. He's going to lose a lot of vital energy. It's not that you can never do it, but if you do it a lot, it tends to drain the energy. Then you don't have the energy to work with for tantric practice or even just regular lovemaking. Way before I got into Tantra, I read a book, not a tantric book, but just a book about not ejaculating a lot. And I found I was much more responsive to the women in my life. They liked me more. I also had a problem, like it was making me really tense. So you have to add in the slowing down and the relaxing part. Otherwise, it really will make you tense. It's not about delaying gratification. It's about really feeling and enjoying now. And tonight's class is not about extended orgasm, but you can take it all the way to the point of extended orgasm, where you're in a state of involuntary contractions as a man and not ejaculating, and you have the full sense of release. Now, the last item on this list is to experience your subtle body. Okay, so if you haven't jotted that down, take a moment and jot that down. To experience your subtle body. Okay, your subtle body is sometimes called the pranic body or your energy body. Here you've got an image that illustrates that well. You might have noticed when you were meditating, the more you concentrate on your experience, the more subtle it gets, the more energetic it gets. You can even take a breath now into your belly, into your sex center, into your heart. And notice that as you stay with that sensation, it gets more subtle. That's your subtle body. It's not separate from your physical body. It's just a more subtle dimension, right? And in tantric practice, you're going from the gross to the subtle, all the way to consciousness and being. So experiencing your subtle body, your energy body, your pranic body is very important.
You may want to actually be able to live that in your life every day. And for all of you, but for those of you that are new, this is what Erwan and I love to do. We love supporting you in living daily what we're exploring tonight.